Good evening, everyone. Let me start by saying this. There's a certain magic in the quiet moments, the moments when no one is watching, and it's just you, your determination, and the work you're doing to bring something meaningful into the world. It's in those moments of solitude where true growth happens, not in the applause, not in the recognition, but in the effort that no one sees. We live in a world that thrives on noise. Social media feeds us a constant loop of other people's highlight reels, curated perfection, and public wins. It can feel like success only counts if it's visible, if people know about it, if they're cheering you on. But here's the truth: the most profound transformation often happens in silence, behind the scenes where no one is looking. Think about it. A seed doesn't grow into a tree while shouting about it. Its roots dig deep into the soil, hidden from view. Its strength builds slowly and steadily in the dark. The tree isn't focused on who's watching, it's focused on becoming, on doing the work, on standing tall when the time comes. So what does it mean to work hard in silence? It means being okay with delayed gratification. It means showing up consistently, even when no one notices. It means giving your best effort because it matters to you, not because it's going to earn you applause. But let me be clear, this isn't about hiding who you are. It's not about shrinking yourself or refusing to celebrate your accomplishments. It's about redefining what motivates you. It's about knowing that your worth isn't determined by likes, followers, or external validation. You're not chasing success to prove something to others, you're chasing it because it's part of your purpose. Working hard in silence isn't easy. It requires resilience because there will be days when it feels like no one cares. Days when the work feels invisible. But on those days, I want you to remember this: the work you do in silence is not invisible to you. It's building your character, it's teaching you discipline. And most importantly, it's laying the foundation for the life you're creating. When the time comes, when your moment to shine arrives, it won't just be about the result. It will be about everything you became in the process. It will be about the quiet strength you built when no one was watching. So let's commit to honoring the work we do in silence. Let's stop worrying about being seen and start focusing on being present. Let's remind ourselves that the loudest victories aren't always the most meaningful. Sometimes it's the quiet, steady climb that shapes us the most. You don't need the world to clap for you. Your progress is your applause. Keep growing, keep becoming, and trust that the noise will come later when you're ready for it. True growth happens in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It's in these moments of solitude and stillness that we come face to face with our most authentic selves. In a world that constantly demands attention, recognition, and validation, there's something deeply powerful about choosing to step away from the noise and focus on what truly matters: the work we do when the cameras are off, the crowds are gone, and the spotlight is dim. These moments are where the seeds of growth are planted, where the roots of our character are nourished, and where we cultivate the strength to carry ourselves forward. The irony of growth is that it often feels invisible. Unlike achievements that are public or victories that are celebrated, the process of real, lasting transformation tends to unfold quietly. It's the effort you put in on a rainy Tuesday when no one is there to acknowledge it. It's the small, consistent steps you take toward your goals that may never make headlines, but are the very foundation of progress. In these moments, it's not about who's watching or what they think. It's about the relationship you have with yourself and the commitment you've made to the path you're walking. Working in silence can feel lonely at times, especially when we're surrounded by a culture that prioritizes performance over substance. We're taught to share our accomplishments, to showcase our progress, and to seek validation from others. There's nothing inherently wrong with celebrating our wins or sharing our journey, but it's crucial to ask ourselves why we're doing it. Are we driven by a genuine sense of pride and joy in what we've achieved, or are we seeking approval to validate our efforts? When the motivation comes from within, the external applause becomes a nice to have, not a need to have. And it's in this internal motivation that the most profound growth begins. The quiet moments force us to confront our fears, doubts, and insecurities. Without an audience to perform for, there's no hiding from the inner critic or the questions we may try to avoid. Am I good enough? Am I on the right path? What if I fail? These are the kinds of questions that can arise in silence. And while they may feel uncomfortable, they're also an opportunity. They're an invitation to dig deeper, to challenge the narratives we've been telling ourselves, and to rewrite the story in a way that empowers us. Growth isn't just about achieving goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who can face those questions and keep moving forward anyway. In the quiet moments, we learn to embrace the process instead of rushing toward the destination. Growth is not a linear journey, it's messy, unpredictable, and often filled with setbacks. When no one is watching, there's no pressure to be perfect or to have all the answers. There's room to experiment, to fail, and to try again. These are the moments where resilience is built when we fall short, pick ourselves back up, and decide to keep going. The strength to persevere isn't something that magically appears in times of need. It's something we develop in the quiet, unseen hours of effort. Silence also gives us the space to reflect and reconnect with our purpose. In the noise of everyday life, it's easy to lose sight of why we started in the first place. The quiet moments allow us to step back, evaluate our progress, and ask ourselves if we're still aligned with our values and goals. This kind of introspection is essential for growth because it ensures that the path we're on is truly our own, not one dictated by the expectations of others or the pressure to conform. When we take the time to listen to our inner voice, we gain clarity about what matters most and the courage to pursue it, even if no one else understands. The beauty of working in silence is that it fosters a sense of authenticity. Without the need to perform or seek validation, we're free to focus on what truly matters to us. It's not about impressing others or proving our worth, it's about doing the work because it's meaningful, because it aligns with who we are, and because it helps us grow into the person we want to become. This kind of intrinsic motivation is what separates fleeting success from lasting fulfillment. When we're grounded in our purpose, the opinions of others lose their power over us, and we're able to stay true to ourselves. Silence also teaches us patience. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and the results of our efforts are often slow to reveal themselves. In a world that celebrates instant gratification, the ability to delay rewards and trust the process is a rare and valuable skill. When we work hard in silence, we learn to appreciate the journey instead of obsessing over the outcome. We understand that the small, consistent actions we take each day are the building blocks of something greater. This patience not only helps us achieve our goals, but also allows us to savor the experience and find joy in the process of becoming. One of the most challenging aspects of working in silence is the uncertainty. Without external feedback, it can be difficult to know if we're on the right track or if our efforts are making a difference. But this uncertainty is also an opportunity to build trust in ourselves, in the process, and in the belief that the work we're doing has value, even if it's not immediately visible. This kind of trust is essential for growth because it allows us to take risks, to step outside our comfort zones, and to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. There's also a sense of freedom that comes with working in silence. When we're not concerned with how our efforts will be perceived, we're free to focus entirely on the work itself. This kind of focus is rare in a world full of distractions, but it's also where some of the most meaningful progress happens. In the quiet moments, we're able to fully immerse ourselves in the task at hand, to give it our undivided attention, and to push ourselves to new levels of creativity and excellence. This kind of deep work isn't just productive, it's transformative. The quiet moments also remind us that growth is deeply personal. No two journeys are the same, and comparing our progress to others is not only unhelpful, but also unfair. When we work in silence, we're able to focus on our own path, our own goals, and our own definition of success. This kind of self-focus isn't selfish, it's necessary. It allows us to honor our unique strengths and challenges, to celebrate our progress without comparison, and to stay true to the vision we've created for ourselves. Finally, working in silence allows us to build a sense of gratitude. When we're not caught up in the noise of external validation, we're able to appreciate the small wins, the lessons learned, and the growth that's happening along the way. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, from what's missing to what's possible. It's a reminder that even in the quiet moments, there's so much to be thankful for: the opportunity to grow, the strength to keep going, and the quiet resilience that comes from doing the work when no one is watching. Focus on becoming, not on being seen. This idea might seem counterintuitive in a world where visibility feels synonymous with success. We're surrounded by platforms and opportunities that encourage us to share, show, and shine. But when the focus shifts from who you are becoming to how others perceive you, something essential is lost. It's easy to fall into the trap of performing for others, crafting an image that earns admiration while neglecting the inner work that truly matters. When we fixate on being seen, our energy becomes scattered, driven by external approval, instead of the clarity and purpose that come from within. Becoming is about transformation, a process that takes time, patience, and commitment. It's not about instant results or quick wins. It's about the slow and steady evolution of who you are. When you focus on becoming, you give yourself the grace to grow at your own pace. You recognize that it's not about arriving at a destination or achieving a specific milestone, but about the person you're growing into along the way. This process is deeply personal, and it requires you to turn inward, away from the distractions of external validation and toward the quiet but powerful work of self-discovery. Focusing on becoming means embracing the messiness of growth. It's not a straight line, it's a winding path with setbacks, challenges, and unexpected turns. When you prioritize being seen, there's a temptation to present only the polished, perfect version of yourself. But when you focus on becoming, you allow yourself to be honest about where you are, even if it's not where you want to be yet. You understand that growth isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up for yourself, even when the journey feels hard or uncertain. This shift in focus requires a mindset change. Instead of asking, what will people think of me, you begin to ask, what kind of person am I becoming? This question challenges you to align your actions with your values, to make choices that reflect who you truly are rather than who you think you should be. It's a question that grounds you, reminding you that your worth isn't tied to how others perceive you, but to the effort and intention you bring to your life. By focusing on becoming, you build a foundation of self-respect and authenticity that can't be shaken by external opinions. When you focus on becoming, you also cultivate resilience. The path of personal growth is rarely easy, and there'll be moments when it feels easier to give up or settle for the approval of others. But the resilience that comes from focusing on who you're becoming is different. It's not about proving yourself to anyone, it's about proving to yourself that you can keep going. This resilience isn't loud or flashy, it's quiet and steady, like the roots of a tree growing deep into the soil. It's the kind of strength that allows you to weather storms and keep moving forward, even when the road is difficult. There's a freedom that comes with this shift in focus. When you let go of the need to be seen, you free yourself from the pressure to perform. You're no longer tied to the expectations of others or the fear of judgment. Instead, you can focus entirely on the work that matters to you, the kind of work that aligns with your purpose and brings you closer to your goals. This freedom allows you to take risks, try new things, and to step outside your comfort zone without worrying about how it will look to others. It's a liberating way to live, one that prioritizes growth over appearances. Focusing on becoming also helps you stay present. When you're not preoccupied with how others see you, you're able to fully engage with the moment you're in. You're not rushing to get somewhere or achieve something to impress others. You're simply doing the work because it matters to you. This presence is powerful. It allows you to find joy in the process, to appreciate the small steps you're taking, and to stay connected to your journey. When you're present, you're able to give your full attention to the things that matter. And that focus can lead to deeper, more meaningful growth. One of the challenges of focusing on becoming is that it requires patience. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and the results of your efforts may not be visible for a long time. This can be frustrating, especially in a world that celebrates quick wins and immediate success. But when you focus on becoming, you learn to trust the process. You understand that the work you're doing today may not pay off tomorrow, but it's laying the foundation for something greater. This patience is a skill, one that allows you to stay committed even when progress feels slow. Focusing on becoming also shifts your relationship with failure. When you're focused on being seen, failure can feel devastating. It's a public mark against your image, a reminder that you're not as perfect as you'd like to appear. But when you're focused on becoming, failure becomes a part of the process. It's not something to be feared or avoided, it's something to be learned from. Each failure is an opportunity to grow, to refine your approach, and to get closer to who you want to be. This perspective transforms failure from an obstacle into a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey. This shift in focus also impacts the way you measure success. When you're focused on being seen, success is often tied to external markers, achievements, recognition, or praise from others. But when you're focused on becoming, success takes on a deeper, more personal meaning. It's about the progress you're making, the lessons you're learning, and the ways you're growing. It's about the alignment between your actions and your values, the courage to pursue your goals, and the resilience to keep going even when it's hard. This kind of success is lasting because it's rooted in who you are, not in what others think of you. Focusing on becoming also allows you to build a stronger sense of self. When you're not preoccupied with being seen, You're able to tune out the noise of external expectations and tune into your own inner voice. This self-awareness is a powerful tool for growth. It helps you identify what truly matters to you, what motivates you, and what holds you back. It allows you to set goals that are aligned with your values and to pursue them in a way that feels authentic to you. This self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. It's what allows you to become the person you want to be. Another benefit of focusing on becoming is that it deepens your relationships. When you're not focused on being seen, you're able to show up more authentically with others. You're not trying to impress them or win their approval. You're simply being yourself. This authenticity creates deeper connections because it allows others to see the real you, not the version of you that you think they want to see. It also encourages others to be authentic with you, creating a space for mutual growth and understanding. When you focus on becoming, you also develop a sense of humility. Growth is a humbling process. It requires you to acknowledge where you have room to improve and to approach your journey with an open mind. This humility is not about diminishing yourself. It's about recognizing that there's always more to learn and that growth is a lifelong process. It's about being willing to admit when you're wrong, to ask for help when you need it, and to celebrate the progress of others as well as your own. This kind of humility is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you're committed to becoming the best version of yourself. Finally, focusing on becoming allows you to let go of comparison. When you're focused on being seen, it's easy to measure yourself against others, to feel like you're falling behind or not doing enough. But when you're focused on becoming, you realize that your journey is uniquely yours. You're not in competition with anyone else. You're simply working to grow in your own way at your own pace. This perspective is freeing. It allows you to celebrate your progress without comparing it to anyone else's, and it helps you stay true to your own path. Your worth isn't defined by external validation. It's rooted in your purpose. In a society where likes, comments, and applause often dictate what we value, it's easy to tie our self-worth to how others perceive us. The allure of external validation can be intoxicating, pulling us into a cycle of seeking approval and recognition from others. But when our sense of worth relies on external sources, it becomes fragile, fluctuating with the opinions and reactions of those around us. It's only when we root our worth in something deeper, our purpose, that we discover strength and stability that no amount of external validation can provide. Purpose is deeply personal. It's not something that can be dictated by others or determined by what's popular or celebrated in the moment. It comes from within, built on the unique combination of your values, passions, and the contributions you feel called to make. When you're connected to your purpose, it becomes a compass, guiding your decisions and anchoring your sense of worth. It allows you to measure your success by your own standards, not by the shifting benchmarks set by others. This internal grounding gives you the freedom to focus on what truly matters to you rather than constantly chasing the approval of others. External validation can feel rewarding in the moment, but it's inherently fleeting. A compliment, like a round of applause, might boost your confidence temporarily, but it doesn't provide lasting fulfillment. It's like trying to quench your thirst with a drop of water. It feels good for a second, but it doesn't sustain you. When you rely on external validation to feel worthy, you're always searching for the next source of approval, the next achievement to prove your value. This cycle is exhausting, and it distracts you from the deeper work of discovering and living in alignment with your purpose. When your worth is rooted in your purpose, it becomes unshakable. Purpose is not dependent on other people's opinions. It's something you carry with you, no matter what's happening around you. It's what allows you to stay steady in the face of criticism or rejection, to keep moving forward, even when the external rewards aren't there. Purpose gives you a sense of direction and clarity, helping you navigate challenges and setbacks without losing sight of who you are and what you're working toward. It's a source of intrinsic motivation, fueling your efforts because you know they matter, regardless of whether anyone else is watching or applauding. Rooting your worth in your purpose also helps you build resilience. Life is unpredictable, and there will be times when external validation is absent, when your efforts go unnoticed, or when you face criticism instead of praise. If your worth is tied to these external factors, these moments can feel devastating. But when your sense of worth comes from within, you're better equipped to weather these challenges. You understand that your value doesn't depend on the opinions of others, and you're able to stay grounded in your purpose even in difficult times. This resilience allows you to keep growing and striving no matter what obstacles you face. Purpose also brings a sense of fulfillment that external validation cannot. When you're living in alignment with your purpose, your efforts feel meaningful regardless of whether they're recognized by others. You're not working for the sake of applause. You're working because it matters to you, because it aligns with your values, and because it contributes to something greater than yourself. This kind of fulfillment is deeply satisfying, and it provides a sense of contentment and peace that external validation simply can't match. It's the difference between chasing happiness and finding joy, a lasting, internal sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing you're living true to who you are. There's a freedom that comes with rooting your worth in your purpose. When you're not dependent on external validation, you're free to take risks, to experiment, and to pursue your goals without fear of judgment. You're not constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering what others think of you. Instead, you're focused on your own journey, confident in the knowledge that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion. This freedom allows you to be authentic, to show up as your true self, and to live in a way that feels honest and aligned with your values. Rooting your worth in your purpose also allows you to build stronger, more authentic relationships. When you're not seeking validation from others, you're able to show up in relationships without pretense or performance. You're not trying to impress or earn approval, you're simply being yourself. This authenticity creates deeper connections because it allows others to see and connect with the real you. It also fosters mutual respect and understanding as you're able to value others for who they are, not for what they can provide in terms of validation or approval. Connection is born in imperfection because our shared humanity resides in the parts of ourselves that are not perfect. Despite the pressure to appear flawless, it is our vulnerabilities, struggles, and imperfections that make us relatable and allow us to form meaningful bonds with others. Connection does not arise from presenting an image of perfection. It grows from the moments when we let our guard down and allow others to see us as we truly are. These moments are raw, authentic, and often uncomfortable, but they are the foundation of trust and belonging. Perfection, on the other hand, can create distance. When we strive to appear perfect, we project an image that is unattainable and often unrelatable. It can make others feel as though they are not enough in comparison. And it can isolate us because we know deep down that the version of ourselves we are presenting is not real. When we attempt to hide our imperfections, we build walls instead of bridges. And those walls keep us from experiencing the depth of connection we crave. Imperfection is what makes us human. It is what reminds us that we are all navigating life's challenges, uncertainties, and complexities. When we are honest about our struggles, we create space for empathy and understanding. We let others know they are not alone, and we give them permission to share their own stories. This mutual exchange of vulnerability is what fosters true connection. It is not our strengths or achievements that bring us closer to others. It is our shared experiences of being imperfect and navigating life despite it. When we embrace imperfection, we also embrace authenticity. Authenticity is the willingness to show up as we are, without hiding behind masks or pretending to be something we are not. It is about letting go of the need to perform or meet unrealistic standards and instead focusing on being real. This honesty is the foundation of connection because it allows others to see us for who we truly are, not who we think we should be. Authenticity invites trust because it demonstrates that we are willing to be open and honest, even when it feels risky. One of the reasons connection thrives in imperfection is because it creates a sense of safety. When we share our imperfections, we signal to others that it is okay for them to do the same. This creates an environment where people feel comfortable being themselves without fear of judgment or rejection. It is in this environment of acceptance and understanding that true connection can flourish. When we feel safe to be ourselves, we are more likely to open up, share our thoughts and feelings, and build deeper relationships. Imperfection also reminds us of our common humanity. It is easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others and feeling as though we are the only ones struggling. Social media and societal expectations often amplify this feeling by presenting curated versions of other people's lives that seem perfect. But when we take the time to share our real experiences, we realize that everyone has their own challenges and insecurities. This realization can be incredibly freeing because it reminds us that we are not alone. Our imperfections are not something to be ashamed of. They are part of what connects us to one another. The fear of imperfection often stems from a fear of rejection. We worry that if we reveal our flaws, we will be judged or cast aside. But the truth is, it is our willingness to be vulnerable that deepens our connections with others. When we share our imperfections, we show others that we trust them enough to be real, and this trust is often reciprocated. It is through these exchanges of vulnerability that relationships are strengthened and bonds are formed. Imperfection also teaches us humility and compassion. When we acknowledge our own flaws, we become more understanding of the imperfections in others. We are less likely to judge and more likely to approach people with empathy and kindness. This shift in perspective can transform the way we relate to others and help us build stronger, more supportive relationships. It reminds us that everyone is doing their best and that mistakes and imperfections are a natural part of the human experience. Another powerful aspect of imperfection is that it encourages growth. When we accept that we are not perfect, we create space for learning and self-improvement. We stop striving for an unattainable ideal and instead focus on progress and personal development. This mindset not only benefits us individually, but also enriches our relationships. When we approach life with a growth-oriented perspective, we become more open to feedback, more willing to apologize and make amends, and more committed to building connections that are based on mutual respect and understanding. Connection and imperfection also requires us to be present. When we are constantly focused on maintaining an image of perfection, we are often not fully present in our interactions with others. We are too preoccupied with how we are being perceived or whether we are meeting expectations. But when we let go of this need for perfection, we can engage with others more genuinely. We can listen more deeply, respond more authentically, and truly connect on a human level. There is also a profound beauty in imperfection. It is often in our most imperfect moments that we discover our greatest strengths and form our deepest connections. Think about the times in your life when you have felt truly connected to someone. It was likely not when everything was going perfectly, but when you were navigating a challenge or sharing a vulnerable moment. These experiences remind us that it is not our perfection, but our resilience, our honesty, and our willingness to be vulnerable that create meaningful relationships. Imperfection also allows us to let go of the need for control. Trying to be perfect often stems from a desire to control how we are perceived and to avoid discomfort or failure. But the reality is we cannot control everything, and striving for perfection only adds unnecessary pressure. When we embrace imperfection, we free ourselves from this burden and allow ourselves to focus on what truly matters: our relationships, our values, and our personal growth. When we accept our imperfections, we also become more resilient. We learn that we can face challenges and setbacks without losing our sense of worth. This resilience not only benefits us, but also strengthens our connections with others. When we show up authentically and face life's challenges with courage, we inspire others to do the same. Our willingness to be imperfect becomes a source of strength and encouragement for those around us. The power of connection and imperfection lies in its ability to transform the way we see ourselves and others. It reminds us that we are not defined by our flaws or our mistakes, but by our willingness to show up and engage with the world as we are. It is a reminder that perfection is not the goal. Authenticity, growth, and connection are. These are the qualities that bring us closer to one another and allow us to build relationships that are meaningful, supportive, and lasting. Courage is a daily practice because bravery is not something we summon only in extraordinary moments, but something we cultivate in the small, everyday decisions that shape our lives. While it is easy to think of courage as dramatic acts of heroism, the truth is that it often shows up in quiet, unassuming ways. It takes courage to speak up for ourselves, to show kindness in the face of negativity, or to take a step toward an uncertain future. These moments may seem insignificant on the surface, but they are the building blocks of a life lived with integrity and authenticity. Practicing courage daily requires intention. It involves making a conscious choice to act in alignment with our values, even when it feels uncomfortable or inconvenient. Courage often demands that we step outside of our comfort zones and face fears, doubts, and uncertainties. This can feel daunting, especially when the stakes are high, but it is in these moments that we grow and strengthen our ability to face challenges with resilience and determination. One of the reasons courage is a practice is because fear is a constant presence in our lives. Fear is not something we overcome once and for all. It is a natural part of being human. Whether it is fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown, these feelings will continue to arise. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. It is the recognition that fear does not have to dictate our actions or hold us back from pursuing what matters most to us. Daily courage can take many forms, some of which may seem small or ordinary. It might look like setting boundaries, even when it feels uncomfortable. It might mean being honest about our feelings, even when it is easier to stay silent. It could be trying something new, taking a risk, or simply showing up for ourselves and others when it would be easier to retreat. These actions may not make headlines, but they are acts of bravery nonetheless. They require us to be vulnerable, to face uncertainty, and to trust in our ability to navigate whatever comes next. Courage is also about consistency. It is not about being fearless in every moment, but about showing up day after day with a willingness to try. This consistency builds confidence and resilience over time. Each act of courage, no matter how small, reinforces our belief in our ability to handle challenges and take risks. It creates a positive cycle where bravery leads to growth, and growth strengthens our capacity for bravery. One of the most challenging aspects of practicing courage daily is that it often involves making difficult choices. Courage requires us to prioritize what is right over what is easy, and this can sometimes mean going against the grain of facing criticism. It asks us to stand up for our beliefs, even when doing so feels isolating or uncomfortable. It pushes us to take responsibility for our actions, admit when we are wrong, and make amends when necessary. These are not always easy things to do, but they are essential for living a life of integrity and purpose. Courage is also deeply tied to vulnerability. Being courageous often means putting ourselves out there in ways that feel risky or uncertain. It means being willing to share our thoughts, feelings, and experiences even when we are unsure of how they will be received. Vulnerability and courage go hand in hand because both require us to confront the possibility of failure or rejection. But it is through this vulnerability that we build deeper connections with others and develop a stronger sense of self-worth. Practicing courage daily also involves embracing failure as a natural part of the process. When we take risks, there is always the possibility that things will not go as planned. This can be discouraging, but failure is not the opposite of courage, it is a part of it. Every setback is an opportunity to learn, grow, and try again. Each time we face failure with resilience, we strengthen our ability to navigate future challenges. Courage is not about always succeeding, it is about being willing to try, even when success is not guaranteed. Another important aspect of courage is self-compassion. Being brave does not mean being perfect or never feeling afraid. It means acknowledging our fears and doubts with kindness and understanding rather than judgment or criticism. Self-compassion allows us to approach our challenges with a sense of curiosity and openness rather than fear or resistance. It reminds us that courage is a practice and that it is okay to stumble along the way. Courage is also contagious. When we choose to act bravely, we inspire others to do the same. Our willingness to take risks, speak up, or stand strong in the face of adversity serves a powerful example for those around us. It shows others that it is possible to face challenges with grace and determination, and it creates a ripple effect of bravery and resilience. This is why practicing courage daily is not just an individual act, it is a way of contributing to a culture of strength and authenticity. The practice of courage is not limited to big, life-altering decisions. It is present in the everyday moments that shape our lives. It is in the way we approach our relationships, our work, and our goals. It is in the choices we make, to be honest, to take risks, and to show up fully, even when it feels difficult. Each of these moments, no matter how small, is an opportunity to practice bravery and to build a life that reflects our values and aspirations. True growth happens when you step away from the need for applause. In a world that constantly reinforces the value of external validation, it's easy to measure success and self-worth by how others respond to your efforts. The applause, the likes, the acknowledgement, they can become addictive, creating the cycle where your actions are driven more by the desire to be seen and celebrated than by the intrinsic value of what you're doing. However, real growth doesn't thrive in the spotlight. It emerges in those quiet, unobserved moments when you are fully immersed in the work itself, untethered from the need for recognition or approval. Growth requires space from judgment, space from comparison, and space from the noise of external validation. When you step away from applause, you free yourself from the limitations it imposes. Applause, as gratifying as it may feel, often narrows your focus. It pushes you toward choices that are safe, choices that align with what is already accepted or celebrated. The fear of losing approval can discourage risk-taking, experimentation, and the vulnerability needed for genuine growth. True growth, however, demands that you venture beyond what's comfortable or widely praised. It requires you to stretch yourself, to face uncertainty, and to explore parts of yourself and your work that might not yet be ready for public consumption. This freedom to grow on your own terms is only possible when you are no longer beholden to applause. Stepping away from applause also allows you to rediscover your own voice. When you are constantly influenced by external reactions, it becomes harder to discern what you truly value, what drives you, and what resonates with your authentic self. Applause can drown out your inner voice, replacing it with the expectations and preferences of others. But when you step back, you create room to listen. You start to ask yourself important questions. Why am I doing this? What do I want to achieve? What matters most to me, regardless of how it's received? These questions lead you back to your core, grounding your growth in authenticity rather than performance. The absence of applause also removes the pressure of perfection. When you're constantly seeking validation, there's an unspoken expectation that you need to get everything right, to always succeed in a way that impresses others. This pressure can stifle your ability to take meaningful risks or to embrace the learning process, which is often messy and full of mistakes. But in the quiet moments away from applause, you're free to experiment without fear of judgment. You're free to make mistakes, to fail, and to learn from those experiences without the weight of external scrutiny. This is where real growth happens, not in striving for perfection, but in embracing imperfection as a natural and necessary part of the journey. Stepping away from applause also cultivates resilience. When your sense of worth is tied to external validation, any absence of approval can feel devastating. A lack of applause might make you question your abilities or your direction, leading you to doubt yourself or to abandon your efforts altogether. But when you separate your growth from the need for recognition, you build a deeper sense of confidence and self-trust. You learn to rely on your own assessment of your progress rather than looking to others for confirmation. This resilience allows you to keep moving forward, even in the face of setbacks or criticism, because you're no longer dependent on external validation to feel worthy or capable. Another benefit of stepping away from applause is that it helps you focus on intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is the drive that comes from within, the passion and purpose that fuel your efforts regardless of external outcomes. When you're not distracted by the need for recognition, you can tap into this deeper source of motivation, allowing it to guide your actions and sustain your growth. This kind of motivation is powerful because it's not contingent on outside approval. It's rooted in your own values and aspirations. It keeps you moving forward even when the journey is difficult because your efforts are aligned with something meaningful to you. The absence of applause also helps you develop patience. Growth is rarely immediate, and the journey is often filled with slow, incremental progress that may not be visible to others or even to yourself at times. When you're focused on applause, it's tempting to chase quick wins or to abandon efforts that don't produce instant results. But when you step away from the need for recognition, you're better able to embrace the long game. You learn to value the small, unseen steps that lead to meaningful change over time. This patience is essential for true growth, as it allows you to stay committed even when the process feels slow or uncertain. Stepping away from applause also encourages you to redefine success. When you're chasing validation, success often becomes about meeting external benchmarks, earning a promotion, receiving praise, or achieving milestones that others recognize and celebrate. But when you focus on your own growth, you begin to see success differently. It becomes less about what others think and more about how you feel, what you've learned, and how you've grown. This shift in perspective allows you to celebrate your progress in ways that are personal and meaningful, even if they go unnoticed by others. It also frees you from the pressure of living up to others' expectations, allowing you to define success on your own terms. The quiet space away from applause is also where creativity thrives. Without the pressure to conform to what's popular or acceptable, you have the freedom to explore new ideas, to innovate, and to express yourself authentically. This creative freedom is essential for growth, as it allows you to push boundaries and to discover new possibilities that might not fit within the confines of what's currently celebrated. In the absence of applause, you're able to experiment without fear of failure, to play with ideas, and to pursue projects that excite and challenge you, even if they're not immediately understood or appreciated by others. Stepping away from applause also deepens your sense of gratitude. When you're not focused on external validation, you become more aware of the intrinsic rewards of your efforts, the joy of learning, the satisfaction of progress, and the fulfillment of pursuing something meaningful. This gratitude keeps you grounded, reminding you that the process itself is valuable, regardless of the outcome. It allows you to find contentment in the journey, to appreciate the lessons and experiences along the way, and to stay connected to your purpose. This sense of gratitude is a powerful motivator, helping you to stay inspired and committed, even when the road is challenging. The absence of applause also creates space for introspection. Growth requires self-awareness, and this awareness can only be developed through reflection. When you're constantly seeking recognition, it's easy to become reactive, shaping your actions based on how they will be received by others. But when you step back, you have the opportunity to reflect on your own experiences, to evaluate your progress honestly, and to identify areas for improvement. This kind of introspection is essential for growth, as it allows you to learn from your experiences and to make intentional choices about your next steps. It's in these moments of quiet reflection that you gain clarity about who you are and what you're working toward. Stepping away from applause also strengthens your commitment to your goals. When you're driven by external validation, your focus can waver, shifting based on what garners the most attention or approval. But when your motivation comes from within, you're able to stay committed to your goals, even when they're not widely understood or celebrated. This kind of commitment is crucial for growth, as it allows you to persevere through challenges and to stay true to your vision, regardless of how others perceive it. It's a reminder that your journey is your own and that your growth is not dependent on the approval of others. When you step away from applause, you also create space for authentic connection. In a world where so much of our interaction is performative, driven by the desire to be seen and validated, stepping back allows you to engage with others in a more genuine way. You're not seeking approval or trying to impress, you're simply showing up as yourself. This authenticity fosters deeper relationships as it allows you to connect with others on a more meaningful level. It also allows you to support others in their growth, recognizing that their journey, like yours, is not about seeking applause, but about becoming the best version of themselves.